Yo, yo. Sorry, everybody. My fault. We are now live. There he is. It's been an eventful 24 hours, which is sort of how I live my life. I live an event-based life. Yo. Okay. James, go ahead and make. There it is. There's the request. There he is. It's ringing. Never heard that before. It's always something new, man.
Okay, are we on there?
Straydog turned on his video. I don't know.
Video is on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I'm trying out a new fancy now, and I'm an influencer, so I have a microphone.
That's all we have is a microphone, though. Where's
That is it. That's not. Now, all pleasantries aside, I got to start this with some kudos because I've been talking to you for probably 4 years, roughly. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
And way back at Baker 1.0. And I think I actually started. You're one of the first influencers that I ever actually talked to. And I appreciate that because I think I asked you a question about a boiler like 4 years ago. And I'm like, we don't have boilers here. And I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you please help me with this? And that led into just a personal relationship. And I think at one point, I don't know if you remember this, you asked me to help out one of your buddies with a restaurant in Florida.
Yeah, I do remember
that. Said, absolutely, bro. I got you. But looking on the map, Florida is very small. This particular gentleman was about 4.5 hours away from me.
I know. You were willing to do it, too.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I'll do it. He's got a running toilet. I got you. I'll drive the 4 hours just for GP, man.
No.
I declined because I really didn't want to drive 8 hours round trip.
No, that was a long way to go for a stupid call. That, frankly, I won't lie to you. I talked to you, and I talked to somebody else. I can't remember now. And anyway, we sort of video chatted our way through it and figured it out. So with my little customer that's running a restaurant down there.
Yeah, I'm sure it was full $150 service call, but
yeah.
So I was, hey man, I know you're running late, so you must have had some big stuff on the books.
Not really. It was just we're going over a couple of renos here coming up, and they're commercial renos, and one of the design, I'm going to say it terribly. One of the design chicks was like, "What do we?" Anyway, she just wouldn't shut up. I'm like, I gotta go. Okay, just a couple more questions.
Design people, they just chat with no idea of what actually it takes to do anything. Just like, hey, I saw this on Etsy, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, that was literally the conversation. Is like, hey man, I saw this or this. What do you think about this idea? I'm like, well, this is stupid and that'll work, but it's complicated, and this is how we like to do it. And you sort of just bang it off. And okay, well, let me ask you this in a different way. Anyway, I was supposed to be out of there half an hour before I left. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna be super late. So
that's how it goes, man. I mean, that's no different than any other day, to be honest. I'm sure you deal with that constantly.
Constantly. But you, like you say, usually how we sort of work it is we start quite early, like 6 in the morning, because most of our stuff is hospitality, so they want to get us in, Nobody wants to see us sort of between 11 and 1. And
Yeah.
then it gets busy again. And then nobody wants to see us after 4 o'clock. Like, get out of our restaurants, get out of our hotels. And if you have to, if it takes longer than that, we'll see you tomorrow type of thing. So.
And that's understandable.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
You want to have service guys in your business during your peak
No, it's
hours.
a bad look, right? Like, everybody's like, what's going on? Oh, nothing. Why are the plumbers running around like madmen? Oh, everything's fine. So,
yeah. But honestly,
that's kind of how.
That's my wheelhouse too. Is
Yeah.
I don't want to be running and chasing residential service calls at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd rather have the service calls for commercial properties. I'd like to start at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and be home by 4. I mean, these guys can chase main lines at 10 o'clock at night all day long. I don't care about that.
No, we're a bit of a hybrid, right? I mean, Pete was out last night till 11 o'clock cleaning a main drain for whatever the hell it is. A group of restaurants. And so you're like, okay, well, I mean, whatever. And we charge an arm and a leg to do that. Like, it's crazy. The boys like to do it. I like it because you're like, yeah, $3,000 later, you're all set to go, man.
And that's the perfect scenario for that, is getting that big ticket on a short call after hours. I do no after hours work for anybody that's not a repeat customer. So
no, we're the same. Yeah.
Like 90% of the time, you call me at midnight, unless you have a history with me, I'm not going out. I'm not sending a guy out. I'm not waking up. Plus, you know how hard it is. Well, you're working with family, so it's a little bit different. But you know how hard it is to get a guy that's not family to wake up at 11:30 at night to go run a service call? It's ridiculous.
It's true. Like, and that's part of the issue, right? Like, I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that, but the easy answer is you bribe them to go. I'm like, listen, man, go, and you're gonna make, like, the second you get in your truck, you get
to go.
Yeah, you're getting $800 to go, man. So just go figure it out.
It's not even the money. Like, other times, guys just don't want to go. It doesn't matter how much the money is. They're just not going to go.
No, it's true. It's true. That was the problem when we had all those guys, is doing and even then, like, you'd have a rotation. We had 18 guys, so you were literally on call, once every 3 months. And even then, it was like pulling teeth. Like, dude, like, you're on call like 4 times a year, man. Like, give me for a week.
That's kind of a benefit of the job. It's a benefit of the trade, is getting that extra money when you're on call. That's 100% a benefit. And I know, yes, it sucks to leave and go out and do a call at midnight, but if you're going to walk home with $500 or $600, that's a benefit.
No, absolutely. We would have, even today, I pay my boys. The boys on their base salary make between, I pay them hourly, so they make between $6,000 and $8,000 a month. And then their bonus, which is after hours, I split the residentials with them because I hate them so much. And so the bonus checks at the end of every month is anywhere between, $1,500 and I mean, a couple months ago, both of them pulled in like $4,000 extra. So they're making like $12,000 a month.
Yeah, you're getting a paycheck and you're just doing what you would do anyway. It's why people would not want to do that blows my mind, but I mean, I get it. And in this kind of day and age, it's crazy.
I don't get it. One of my biggest complaints, and I'm going to say, yes, we didn't hire Evan eventually. Mother Flushers is on here asking if we hired. Sorry, it didn't work out, man. I think my care package did arrive, though.
100% come work for me right now, and I'm going to do a partnership with Jake, and it's going to be all above board, and you just have to take on call all the time. You're always on call.
That's right. You're gonna do something other than a spigot, man. That's just how this is gonna go. I do find it hilarious. I've had probably 20 people message me that I sent swag to, They're like, listen, I'm just not ready to post it online. So here's a picture of me. Just don't post it yet. I'm like, dude, no problem. Like, it. The fact that it carries like some weight, I think, is awesome. So there may or may not have been some swag sent to some other flushers, and they're not quite ready to. I don't want to say come out of the closet because that's got such a negative, weird connotation, but they're not ready to announce their allegiances yet. It's probably the best way to say that.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I had a couple messages saying, "Why are you going live with Baker?" I'm like, I've known him for like 5 years. I've never had an issue with him, ever. He's been nothing but helpful with me. And regardless of what your experiences are with him, that has nothing to do with me. So, yes, I'm still going live with Baker.
But you know what? The only people that I have an issue with are the people that come after me first. Like, I am not like an initiator. I'm like, I will absolutely fucking retaliate. There's no doubt about it. But I am not out there pushing buttons. If you push my buttons, you better be ready for whatever the hellstorm is coming, because it's just
Well,
how it's going to go.
you push a couple buttons.
I push buttons because I have opinions. There's no doubt about that. And then they're like, "That your opinion is stupid." I'm like, "Well, defend yourself." And like, "No, you're old and dumb and whatever they go with." And I'm like, "Okay, well, none of those are actually argumentative, something that we can debate." And so anyway, so I may push a couple of buttons, maybe.
It all makes great content because honestly, my favorite content on all of social media is just watching the shit storms.
The latest one is crazy.
That one is
I don't even
really
know.
crazy because that's a guy with literally no certifications or any kind of technical knowledge. And I mean, and I don't mean, let me predicate that and say everybody's job is valuable.
Dude, that's a cop-out statement. There are some jobs that are unnecessary. That we can talk about AI and where that's going, and that's going to prove who's necessary and who's not. But I mean, for that guy to be that, and haven't even posted the most heinous stuff that he said to me. There's a couple of guys that are like, listen, he's a bit off his rocker, but he's not a bad guy. I'm like, no, that dude is an absolute douchebag for the stuff that he sent me out of, and I don't know him from anywhere. We've never had a conversation. We've never, interacted in any way, and he just drops this bomb, and you're just like, whoa, dude.
I had a couple conversations with him, and they were very polite. Everything was fine, but not many.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that I DM on a daily basis, but we had some constructive conversations, and everything was fine, and I didn't think there was anything too crazy going on. But then when I saw those posts, I'm like, where is that coming from?
Where is it coming from?
Engagement issue. Like, I'm trying to create something to get some engagement. That's obviously what it is, but
obviously, yeah, no, yeah. I think that's what's lost of that is, and I do find it funny. I mean, I got 3 or 4 messages today from people that have literally hate me, that have done reels. And I posted the one from what's his nut, Dangerous Meathead. He's like, dude, can you send me that reel? Like the original content? I'm like, what? You can't find it yourself?
Yeah, it's free stuff. It's on the internet. It's out there forever for everybody. You can grab it if you want to.
Sure, man. Here it is for me, pal. We're still not, pals. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It was weird.
I think that stuff is like
he shall not be named. Chimed in.
It's easy content for a lot of people. I don't know why we have to have negative opinion. Look, do I see a lot of stuff out there on the internet that I think is 100% bullshit and just ridiculous? Yes. I don't engage with it because it's not worth my time.
Maybe that's
Now,
my
if somebody would
problem.
call me out, I would certainly redirect. But I mean, that's the same thing. That's what you do. You redirect. When somebody comes at you, you come back at them, which is what you should do. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Although,
I mean,
I don't know what this is
if you don't
brand.
defend yourself, then people just walk all over you, right? Sorry, say that again?
I said, oh, I don't know if you noticed, but you know how you watch like a movie or something and they've got, they're drinking a Coca-Colas?
Oh, yeah.
I do not
There's no
endorse
Coca-Cola.
any previous statements made by Bob Baker.
Yeah.
But
There's been some inflammatory ones.
it does actually work. It will work and it will hold pressure. I just probably lost my
It does
response.
work. It fucking works.
It
That's
does
the killer,
work.
right?
I
If
have
people
never
are like,
left it.
I mean,
I have
what's
done it
that?
in I've done it in emergency situations to get overnight and then come back the next day and
Yeah.
replace it. It 100%
Yeah.
will work. Obviously, you can't say
100%.
that you can't say you can do this because there's liabilities. There's liabilities on the company. There's liabilities like all across the board. So you have to say, well, if it's not endorsed, we can't do this, and you shouldn't do this. I'll
Yeah.
predicate that you should not do it.
You should not do that. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times I said that. Listen, you shouldn't do this, but you can. You're evil. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'm evil.
Well, that's your persona
I mean,
now.
straight
You're
up
the
on,
evil guy.
yeah. Like I've said it. I have 4 or 5 that are still installed that I installed a decade or more ago.
Yeah, I would 100%
And
believe
that's
that. Now there are
with no
things
problem.
structurally that yes, it's not supposed to do that, but that doesn't mean it can't do that.
Yeah. Do who was I was talking to a guy the other day. What was it? I can't remember. I think it was a boiler manufacturer. He's like, listen, this is rated for this. It'll actually do this, but we didn't get the CSA approval, which is the Canadian Standard Association. I'm like, oh, so you didn't cough up $250,000 for the CSA to put their sticker on it. He goes, yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
and that's
which happens all the time. I'm like, did you pay your money so that you could broaden your access of your product to more people? And if you didn't, then it's not approved. I'm like, okay, well, I totally understand why Viega would never do that because, as you know, it really comes down to the quality of the pipe that you're using. If your pipe is incredibly brittle or fractured, then don't use it. But if it's a solid piece of CPVC, dude, that thing will last until till the apocalypse. In my opinion, it's not overpressuring it. It's not stressing it out any more than the water is, and you're off to the races. So,
and a lot of those standards that are issued are based on inside pressure, not outside pressure. So a crimp from the outside is different than the standardized pressure coming from the inside of the pipe. So those arguments aren't 100% valid. Now, I will say that Viega has proven that you should not do that in longevity. They've done the testing. You should never ever do that. But
no, and that's why they won't. That's why they don't do it. But no, not to rehash the whole thing. In a court of law, I would win. I think I would win liabilities because it doesn't say don't do this.
Yeah, it's verbiage.
You know what I'm saying?
Verbiage can save you or hurt you.
That's all law is. You can do this, you can't do that. And so, I mean, I've looked at it, which is why I made the decision I did way back when to do it, and said, yeah, man, I am within the bounds of the product, and I think I'm legally within the framework to cover my ass if it went sideways for whatever reason. So I promise you, in the next 3 years, Viega is going to come out with the Baker rule, and it's going to say, "Do not use on CPVC," and then they're covered.
Very, very likely, and it's kind of rolling out right now, like very subtly.
I think it is. When they did that video and it held to 700 psi, I'm like, thank you. I realized that was supposed to be a debunking, but you proved my fucking point.
I mean, yes, does it hold the pressure? Yes, but the entire concept of the fittings and the way that it's pressed does not correlate with a plastic pipe 100%. That is,
no.
Now, like I said, temporarily, maybe, but longevity, and you said you've got stuff 10 years plus that's holding fine, and that may be 100% accurate. But there's so many other factors that go into that, climate, ambient temperature, where you're at. Like for me, if I tried to press CPVC that was 10 years old in Florida that's been in the sun for 20 years, no way. It would crack
I agree
all the way down the
Yeah. No, 100%. And because of where we live, all of our plumbing is like encased indoors. You know what I mean? It's in somewhere between 17 and 21 degrees Celsius or 66 and 72 Fahrenheit, with no variance. Everything's secured. There's no vibration. I'm like, this will work. No problem at all. No problem at all.
The region is so insane that it's probably the best testing ground for any product, because we have a lot of exterior exposed piping in various materials, and many of which fail eventually just because of direct sunlight. We're in a climate that is generally about 89 degrees with 100% UV at all times. So it's a true testing ground. And I will say Viga's PureFlow is the best to hold up to UV in the area that I've used. And I used Uponor for a really long time. I switched just because of the UV variance on it. The PureFlow has a much higher resistance. It's like 6 months, I think, from the time it's manufactured, whereas Uponor, I think, is maybe 30 days from the time it's manufactured. So if a piece of pipe sits in your truck from Uponor for 30 days, it's done. You don't even install it.
Yeah. No, we've had that problem up here, and we don't have anywhere near the same sort of exposures to sunlight that you guys do. And that was with our PEX piping, Uponor. You can't leave it on your truck, which is why it's all wrapped up in black plastic up here. I'm sure it's down there too. If you open it, use it and keep it. And because of where we are, like I say, everything's indoors. So, okay, we got a couple questions here.
All right.
Let's talk Kitech. You see that one?
Oh, no, I'm on my phone, so I can barely see anything.
Kitech is... I don't know what happened to Kitech. I put in 1 million feet of that stuff. Again, it comes down to a manufacturer of a product that, in my opinion, has just decided not to service it anymore. Like, listen, we're just going to cut our losses and be done. There's too many whiners out there. There's too many lawsuits out there. So we're just gonna be done with it. It was a great, great product. I loved it. Loved it. Anyway. There's plumbing perspective. Yeah, I think that I absolutely influenced Viega to do that stupid video. It still makes me laugh. Because, as you know, the argument of all those guys, of all those influencers is that my content sucks, I have zero reach, and, well, I don't know what the third one is. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm like, and yet here you are in my DMs trying to light me up. So who's living in whose head? It's a crazy life. So I build this.
Oh,
Who's that?
We gotta respond to somebody who wants a fade.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
All right.
My Pete's trying to crash my party.
Inside look at the studio.
There's the studio. He's about to post this, so you can see the side view of what's going on right now.
All right.
It's a very cool studio. Pull-up bars?
I don't know where the pull-up bar is, man. Pete's starting his own home gym in his little tiny apartment. And
He's got to put a crib in there. You don't have room for a gym, Pete. You got to get a crib and.
Yeah, he's gonna be a dad here in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. I'm happy for him.
It's the best thing that could ever happen to a man.
Yeah, it changes your life. It puts your. No matter where you are in your life, once that happens, everything goes into perspective. You change your entire mindset.
Yeah, 100%. It's I'm super excited for him. We don't know what it is, right, Pete?
Nope. It's a surprise.
It's going to be a surprise.
Oh, you're not going to do a crazy blow up a car with blue smoke?
No. No.
No, that's gay.
That's no. we had a mini one for Isaiah. It was very demure. I think. Can I tell what Isaiah is having? I think we can tell. Can I don't know. Isaiah's having a boy in September, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a couple new bakers on the scene here this year. So you guys prepare yourself. The world's about to get a bit more salty.
My 15-year-old daughter wears a baker hoodie to school almost every day. Yeah, blue collar. Oh, yeah, blue collar is super cool if you're 15 years old right now. So.
That's awesome. That's a change, isn't it? I think it is. I think that's a change.
I like the fact, and all of her friends too. They're wearing, muffler shop T-shirts every day. That's like a thing now. It's like cool to be blue collar again, or not again. I don't think it ever really was, and it's really cool that it is now.
No, I don't think I mean, I was obviously my dad was a plumber, and so I didn't think anything about sort of being in that. And we worked in a fairly affluent area, and I didn't really get any flack for that. Although I was which is why I went to university to start, encouraged to go to university and figure that's where the money is. And 40 years later, every person that I know that went to university is like on their third or fourth job. Some of them are on their, second or third career where they're, trying to figure out, or they got laid off and they need to get a new skill set. And I honestly, other than a couple of months in 2008, have never been slow, ever. Yeah. I mean, there's been an afternoon off here or an early Friday there or whatever the case may be, but it's been nonstop, which has just been such a blessing for me and my family with trying to raise 5 kids, which isn't easy to do on a single income, which is the reality of it all. But it's been fabulous. I wouldn't change it for the world. Not for the world. It's been just great.
I don't know if there's a difference between the U.S. and Canada. It seems like there really is. But in the U.S., if you want to go to college, you don't really have any direction. You just go and pay money for arbitrary reasons, and you just do random things. And then, like, 4th year of college, you're kind of figuring out what your major is. And 90% of those end up being just bullshit things that people do to get their paper. But I do respect that in Canada, you've got that Red Seal program, which seems really amazing to me. Maybe it's not, but
it is. That if Canada, our university system is very similar. Unless you want to be, I literally had the conversation on the weekend. Unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, university is a waste of time. And that's obviously my opinion. But unless you have a direct path of where you're going and where you're spending your dollars and where you want to end up, you're just sort of floundering around trying to find yourself and find
Yeah.
something that you like. And most of them get, some marketing or sales, sales, a degree, and end up, working for a big conglomerate, selling or, doing data points or whatever the case may be. The best, as you know, the best thing about the trade is you're in it, you know what you're doing. There's no equivocation of what's expected, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, for the
And
most,
you're instantly making money.
I think so. For the U.S., I think the biggest problem is we don't have a uniform education system
It's
in the trade.
crazy to me, right?
Yeah, like you guys have the Red Seal, so like everybody does the
Yep.
same thing, and no matter what province you go to, you have completed whatever education you need, and you're
Yeah.
still the Red Seal from province to province. So in the
Yeah.
United States, not only do we don't even have a uniform code. So
I know you have like 3, don't you? 3
we
or
have more
4?
than that because we have the uniform plumbing code, we have the international plumbing code, and then we have individual codes based on like places like Boston and New York City. They have their
Yeah.
own codes that are totally separate from UPC and IPC. It's their own entity. Even in Florida here,
Crazy.
we have our own code that doesn't translate to any other code. But because we have these weird right to work states where you don't have to have education, you can just apply, and if somebody will teach you on the job, you can learn and become a plumber or an electrician or whatever. You still don't have any actual formal training. So maybe
Yeah.
you work as a plumber for 10 years, but it doesn't matter if you go to Montana, because in Montana they're going to say, all right, you don't have any training. You're not a plumber. You're not an electrician. You're not a carpenter. So it's really weird. I don't understand why we don't have a standardized thing across all states. Even here, if you're a master plumber in Florida and you move to California,
Yeah.
you're not a master plumber anymore.
Nothing. I was talking to a couple guys from Chicago. That Marlon the plumber. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
I talked to him here and there, and he was in California, moved to Chicago, had to start his apprenticeship all over again. Got to third year, and his wife got a
20-some years of experience.
It's crazy, right? They have, and then when he got, his wife got a job back at Berkeley, so he went back to California and, got his, re-upped on his license, and he was back to work. I do know, like Alberta has amendments for sure, where we, here's the Canadian Plumbing Code. This is, uh, um, the changes that we make based on our environment, our weather patterns, that sort of thing. And so we do have some uniqueness about Alberta. BC has the same thing, where some of their stuff is different than the Canadian Plumbing Code. But so we're similar that way, but I agree 100% that our education system is just so solid because, and the government mandates, like if you're a third year plumber, I have to pay you 75% of a German wage based on the union rate. So if the unions are paying $40 an hour, then I have to pay you $30 an hour. Like that's the law.
Yeah.
And if you're better than that, then I'll pay you better than that. But it's just, like you say, there's a couple guys there in New Jersey. George the plumber's one. Like his license is so valuable, but lots of those guys go into retirement and then sell their licenses to make some extra money and keep guys that don't have licenses working, which is bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's insane. We do the same thing here. We're technically allowed to qualify 3 shops under 1 license. So I can qualify 2 other guys that I might not even ever talk to, but I could qualify their shops.
Really? So we're allowed, as a journeyman plumber, you're allowed to train 1 for 1. As a master plumber, I can train 2 to 1. That's it. So if when I had 18 guys, like the Alberta Apprenticeship Association would come to our shop and check everybody's tickets to make sure that we had the right ratios. And if you didn't have the right ratios, like you were in trouble. So
nothing
what is
near
All-Star
that.
Plumbing
At least here in Florida, like I know there are states that are like, and I'm not pro-union, but I think a lot of more unionized areas have better education for the most part and kind of a better development for the trades than non-union do. And I'm not saying that going union is a good deal. In my experience, it's not that great. But education-wise, you're getting formal education, you're getting formal experience, you're getting qualified hours towards whatever card you're trying to get.
Which I think is crucial. And All-Star's saying that you can't sell your ticket. Listen, I think I know that, like it's not legal to sell it, but sort of the backroom chatter, if you will, of talking to some of those guys that work out of those. Particularly, my only real conversation is with people in New Jersey, but they say it happens all the time. Like you're not supposed to sell drugs, but people do it all the time.
And Florida's the
right?
opposite. Like, sell your license to everybody you can so we can get the maximum amount of tax benefits.
Really? And you have no oversight over those guys?
Yeah, like I said, you can qualify 3 shops. 2 of those shops can be.
What does shop mean? Like ours is very specific of, as a journeyman, 1 apprentice you get to work with. As a master, there's 2. So what does a shop mean? Is that like what kind of term is that?
A guy could move down here to 200 miles away from me and want to start a plumbing shop, and I could rent him my license for X amount of dollars a month, and he could operate his entire business off my license.
Really? Wow! And and that's legal.
And it's legal. It's 100% legal. Now, the downside of that is obviously,
like, what would you? Let's just pretend I'm moving to, like, I'm done with Alberta and I'm moving to Florida. What would you sell me your license for?
I mean, I don't even know because I've never done that before. But like, from what I understand, the average price is like maybe, depending on the size of your shop and what you're doing. If you're trying to do large scale, probably $2,500 a month. If you're doing residential service, maybe $500 or $600 a month.
Really? And they don't see. I don't even know how that would work. I guess whatever the government does, whatever the government does.
If the person renting that license messes up or fails inspections, it's not on them, it's on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the liability that you're going with, right?
To me, that's
and
not
here's Boiler Crew. So I'm not trying to start anything, but All-Star says it's illegal, which I don't doubt that it is, and they're cracking down on it. And I won't say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble, but it's in the comments that he pays master plumbers in Jersey and Pennsylvania to pull plumbing permits for him when he needs to run water heaters. Crazy.
Pretty standard in a lot of areas now because people who can't get their, so we don't have, in Florida at least, we don't have apprentice, journeyman, master. We only have master. That's it. So you put your hours in.
Is that where the technician comes from?
What's that?
So what are you when you're in training, I guess?
You're nothing.
Grunt?
We don't even qualify people as apprentices here. You're helpers.
Really?
But you help.
Is there some sort of? I mean, then obviously there's no wage scale to that either. You could pay them $8 an hour.
There's no wage scale. We do have some. My particular area no longer even has a PHCC apprenticeship, but when it did, we did have pay scales for all 4 years.
Isn't PHCC a private company?
It is, but it's kind of like the standard for all of the United States, at least, and most of North America, I think.
Really?
Like as far as education.
Okay, wait, you're blowing my mind. You're telling me that a private company is running the apprenticeship? Like, listen, here's my conflict. I hate the government. Like, I hate them to death.
And I agree with you 100%.
They should be out of our lives as much as possible.
Yeah, the government
And
that
yet, at the
governs least
exact same
governs best.
time, yeah, at the exact same time, I'm like, the government needs to make sure that there's a minimum standard of care being enforced so that we can build proper houses, proper plumbing, so that we can build a proper society. And you're telling me that a private company, I mean, Boiler Crew's saying it's $1,000 a month. Dumb and Dangerous is telling it's 5,000 in Georgia. In New Jersey, the bona fide rep is entitled to 10% of all. Like, it's literally set up as a 10% of all permitted work for the company he's repping. Boiler Crew is literally exposing all his dirty laundry. I'm not going to read that out loud, brother. We all have our struggles, bro.
For the beards.
PHCC through. That is bonkers to me. So you're telling me, who was that guy? Do you remember that guy? Crap. What was his name? He was like Alpha Elite Plumbing, and he was flying around the country doing the wall models.
Diego.
Yeah. And he was trying to set up a school.
I cannot comment on that, as I know a lot of details about it.
No, I'm not here to, like I say, I'm not here to blow any. I'm not the instigator. I promise you that. But and the only reason I bring that up is because I was blown away that he was trying to set up a plumbing school. I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? How do you set up a plumbing school? Like, it just seems so. Somebody said it in here. It seems so Wild West. Like, listen, I'm going to start teaching people how to plumb, and if I have my way, everybody's going to be, doping and taping, because that's the way I do it. And if you do it any other way, you're fucking cut from the program.
Yeah, there's a little bit of on the very niche side of plumbing in the lining world. There's kind of a uproar right now about what you just mentioned, because somebody is starting to charge people to train them in lining, but they can't certify anybody in the installation processes. So they're charging money for nothing.
So here, my question is this then. I mean, I've been doing this long enough that there was, because I live in Canada, there was no hydronics code. Like, it was the Wild West. You could install a boiler with garden hose, and I saw it done. You know what I mean? Like, there was no way to do it. And so when they came out with the code and said, this is the hydronics code, I forget the name of it now. You had to get certified in it, and it was really because they wanted to push this. So of course the buy-in was super low. And then I think everybody got certified in that. You remember that Tightflix shit?
Yeah.
Where that's CSST stuff, corrugated stainless steel. You had to take a course in order to buy it, and you literally took the course on the counter, right? The guy was like, "Okay, this is how you cut
this is how you cut it. This is how you put it on."
And they would give you like a little business card saying, Bob Baker is now certified to install this shit. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. How do they do that? Like, lining, which isn't big up here, and I've done a couple of lining jobs. I've done a couple of that coating jobs.
Years ago.
We throw the epoxy against the walls. I have zero training other than listening to the people I bought the product from, who sent me a couple videos, and off we went and did it. I didn't even know there was certification to do that. You're telling me that to be a liner, are they going to make that a certification? Like, are you going to have to show your little ticket to say I can
right
line
now
shit?
Between companies and manufacturers, you're supposed to get the training and get the certification from the manufacturer. And a lot of them are actually pretty intense. Most of the lining, and I've been certified in probably 7 or 8 different styles of lining, and all of those were 48 to 72-hour courses where I had to fly up somewhere and actually sit, and there was book training and field training. But it's very important to them because they're protecting their company and they're protecting the end result of their product, and they want to make sure everything is installed properly. But it's so easy to just buy the stuff and just fly by the seat of your pants. Unfortunately, you can't warranty anything if you're not certified.
Right. And was that all with Picote? Is that who you deal mostly with, or I don't know? That's the
No,
only one
I
I know.
actually haven't. I don't really use Picote that much. Years ago, and I'm talking a long time ago, like 2015 or 14, I got certified in the brush coating. I was one of the first guys in the U.S. As a matter of fact, the equipment that I bought was the demo equipment that they first brought to the United States. So I got it
Oh, really?
at a discounted rate.
Yeah.
It's a non-structural repair because you're basically painting pipe with epoxy.
Yep.
So it's not. Now it can. That doesn't mean to say that it's not a good repair. There are times where it is beneficial. If you've got perfectly good cast iron and you can clean it out really good and you're just trying to prevent tuberculation from continuing to build, it's a perfect solution. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
But if you want to do a permanent repair, a structural repair that you can tie other pipe onto, then you need to get into solid state liners, inversion, UV cures, something of that nature.
Yeah. That's fascinating. The only place that we've used it on is hot tubs, to be honest. With lots of our hotels have built-in hot tubs, and it settles a bit and it breaks some of the suction or the drain lines. Don't tell the pool guy that I'm talking about pools right now; he'll go crazy. But we used the brush coating on that. It worked perfect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's PVC pipe. It worked great. Like, it saved my customer, because they were talking about jackhammering it up. It was going to be a $50,000 bill, and their hot tub was going to be out of commission for 3 months. I'm like, dude, give me the weekend, and I'll charge you. I'll charge you $12,000, and if it doesn't work, I'll refund half your money. And they're like, okay, let's go. And I did it. I don't even know, 5 or 6 years ago. Worked perfect. Perfect.
That's one of those scenarios that's perfect for that application. But if you were working on a main sewer for an apartment complex, you probably wouldn't want to do a non-structural repair.
No.
Unless it was temporary. No. Maybe if you just need to get by for a year until people were gone for a season.
I don't even know how you would, if it was cast iron, how you would even clean it, because the inside of that stuff is so nasty, right? Like,
I do that.
you guys have those machines. What's that?
I said I do that on a daily basis. That's probably 90%
of milling, right?
Workload. Yep, I do milling and jetting, and I restore everything to bare metal.
That's and what is? I mean, obviously, is the milling what takes the longest to do?
Yeah, the milling probably takes the longest, but when you think about it, it's really not that long. I can do 100 feet of 4-inch cast in less than 2 hours and restore it to original factory metal. That's better than running a cable machine.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And can you tell me who your equipment is?
Mostly I use the Picote equipment, the Maxi Miller and the Mini Miller. But there are so many companies out there now manufacturing this. You got the Flexi Rooter from General, which is on par with the Picote equipment, and it's made in the U.S. So if you're like a guy I only buy United States equipment, get you a Flexi Rooter, man. It's made right here.
Go USA!
Even the shafts from Rigid, so they operate on a drill, so you're not going to get as high RPMs, and it's going to take you a lot longer to do it, but you can accomplish the same thing for a $1,500 flex shaft that you could with a $4,000 miller.
That's what we used when we did our hot tubs was the flex shaft.
Yeah, and it works
And
fine. I use the flex shaft all the time, and I actually do like the flex shaft sometimes more than the high-speed millers because I can control the RPMs. So if I have a really
yeah,
broken cast iron line that's very suspect, I don't have to risk damaging that line further because I'm controlling the speed.
yeah. And what's the average age of your plumbing systems down there? Like, what are you?
We
Is it
have
50 years
anything
old that
from
you're working on?
like most of our cast iron. So in my area at least, and this isn't representative of everybody. I'm on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Uh, Cast iron was required up until 1996 on exteriors of homes. So they would always have cast iron outside. Once you got through once you penetrated the slab with your vents, then you could be PVC, but you weren't allowed to be PVC underground anywhere until like 1996 to 1998.
No.
So there's a ton of it out there.
Interesting.
We have, and like I said, I'm doing this almost every day. So there's a ton of cast iron under slabs.
Yeah, I bet that would be a lot going on there, right? A lot. We don't have.
We're more
We've
we're more
changed things.
susceptible to corrosion because all of our cast iron is underground. We have no uh, houses on a block, or we don't have that. It's mostly slabs, so everything's underground. It's not like going to your area or to New England where the cast iron's hanging in a basement. And in those scenarios,
Yeah,
it's going to last a lot longer, and it doesn't seem to degrade as much. But
yeah.
when it's buried in the ground, 10 years to 20 years max.
It takes it out. Yeah, yeah. That's I can say it's fascinating how those codes of how they change and how they affect. Because we've been using ABS forever. Like I probably poured, I don't even know, maybe a dozen joints in my whole life, and then everything got switched over to. I did a couple lead and oak, or a couple Oakham and joints and whatever, and then it went to bands, and then everything's gone to ABS.
Yeah.
We use
And
ABS here
honestly,
because the
when I
glue
was in
is
grade school, I had to wipe lead joints, even though nobody has wiped a lead joint in 50
joint
years.
and yeah.
But that was part of me getting my master's license was I had to wipe lead joints. The only lead and oakum I ever do is very rarely like a closet flange. It's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you got your license in Florida? Like,
My
are you
license,
born and bred down there?
which is sad
I
because
love.
I move anywhere else in the United States and I'm not a master plumber anymore.
Well, unless you want to buy someone's ticket, then you're all set.
Yeah, man, you rent their
According to
ticket, you can do what you want to do.
rent
But
their ticket. So it's interesting. So I don't know if All Star's in here still, but he was saying like it's like they're really cracking down on it, and yet at the same time, the licensor gets 10% of what's gone to the licensee. I think that's what he said. Anyway, that's crazy to me that happens.
I haven't experienced that so much. I've had offers to, hey, can you qualify my shop for $1,000 a month? Which my answer to that is always no, because $1,000 isn't gonna. If you do something, if you get $1 million lawsuit and I just got $1,000, that's not
Yeah,
helping me.
yeah, 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 yeah. Is that? I mean, is that? I mean, it's obviously not a deterrent if it's happening all the time, but is that a common thing that you're
Yeah, it's
lending it out to meatballs that are wrecking your license?
where it's most common is with all of these franchises. So like your Zoom Drains and your Roto-Rooters and your Mr. Rooters, companies that are conglomerates, but they need to have local touch, and they've got to have a local. They have to have a local shop. So when they do that, generally the people that are running that shop don't have a license. They have to rent somebody's license until they can get their
Yeah,
own, or they just continue to rent from you, whatever.
yeah,
And there's a lot of guys out there who do nothing but rent their license. That's what they do. They get their 3 shops at $1,500, $2,000 a month for 3 shops, and they're happy. And I get
And they
more
just live
power
off
to
of
them.
that.
But when you get that
Yes.
thing that happens and your name's on the license and there's $1 million lawsuit, it's not the guy that's renting your license as responsible, it's you.
It seems like that is a system rife with just like no responsibility. Like I mean, part of that whole argument that we had about CPVZ is people like, well, it's your liability, it's your livelihood. I'm like, I know, I'm aware of the liability that I'm exposed to, and I'm prepared to make that minuscule risk of whatever it is to keep the water going on.
Yeah, and it's a
If
limited
I
liability.
was
It's a
using,
liability on you.
yeah, if I was using your license,
Yeah, I would
what would
lose my
prevent
shit
me
if I
from?
found out you're.
I know. Like, what's preventing me from just doing? Fuck it. I mean, it's James's license. If it gets fucked up, I'll just I'll jump on over to whoever, Brad or Tim, or I'll find somebody else to rent the license from. Sorry, James. Good luck with your life.
That's
I mean,
exactly the problem.
that's how it goes. That's how it could go, I guess.
And that's how it probably goes almost every day.
And so I'm just reading what All Star said here. He's like, there's a standard agreement for it in New Jersey that's designed by the state. And so my question to that is, maybe I'll have to talk to All Star. Maybe we can talk about that more in depth. But anyway, is that covered liability? That'd be interesting to know if there's liability coverage in that. Like if I sign this agreement with the state to use your license and I, press CPVC and it explodes the next day, am I somehow on the hook for that? Or is it all, I don't know. It's craziness, really.
I mean,
Bizarre
generally
to me
speaking,
that
I would assume that obviously whoever is holding the license under which that work was done, that's the person responsible.
Part of the rep agreement is that they had to oversee and inspect the work they're doing permits for.
Oh, okay.
Which is
So there's a
fair.
little,
So
yeah.
if I send you a video of pressing CBVC and said, "There you go, bro." I think it's Matt, right? I think All Star's name's Matt. You can correct me on that if you want. But that seems. I guess. I mean, I guess you would make me take it out. I don't even know. Sorry, I'm not usually verklempt. I'm like, that blows my mind. I don't understand how that
But even
makes any sense.
that really doesn't help because you're still the license holder is still responsible because you said it was okay. So no matter what, whether you said it's okay or you said it's not okay, it's still on you.
Yeah. So do I write a formal letter say, take out that? I'm just going to use the same scenario. Take out that CPVC, and you're like, "F you," and I'm like, "Okay, well, when it breaks, it's your problem, not mine." It seems like that's going to get messy.
To do that, you'd have to have some kind of paper trail to say, "I said don't do that."
Yeah. Bananas. All right, you're literally in the heart of all the controversy, James, about this tariff shit. Everybody hates Canada now because I don't know why. We used to be the friendly guys, but now we're just dicks. Are you guys experiencing any issues down there?
Well, the major issue we have is this is a perfect opportunity for every supplier to increase their prices by 12% for no fucking fudging reason.
100%, man. I literally got 4 emails today saying, like, Bradford White's going up, Hydro's Todd.
What's crazy, I can't even remember. Bradford White is made in Michigan, in the United States.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's coming to Canada, so that it's going up 25% or whatever. It's going up. I don't like. I just. It is a. I mean, I can't even call them right now because I don't really even know what's going on. Because they've been on, they've been off, they're on, they're off. Apparently, oil's being tariff, but steel is, and automobiles are, and I'm like, ugh. Anyway,
There's no
it's a
rhyme
mess
or
down there, man.
reason really to most of it. And it
Yeah,
really doesn't matter because no matter what you're putting tariffs on, like just for as an example, China. So you're putting
yeah,
tariffs on China to import McDonald's plastic toys for the Happy Meals. All right. So we can all say we just won't buy Happy Meals anymore, but it's not the plastic toy, it's the parts in the trucks that are driving things around the country. It's all these other things that just domino. And it's just
yeah.
getting ridiculous. And a lot of this stuff is on the shelf in our countries right now. In Canada and in the US, it's on the
Did you
shelf.
did you see the liquor stuff? You must have saw
Yes, I
Canadian
did.
liquor stores. Like,
Yes.
you guys are more. We've already paid for that.
You've
Like,
already
it's
paid
in
the
the store.
taxes.
It's already paid. Like, it's literally, and you're smashing it with glee because you're stupid, right? And then, like, 4 days later, like, oh no, the tariffs are off, and so everybody restocks their shelves. I'm like, it's like I'm watching. Like, stresses me out because I'm like, are you guys that dumb? Like, if I was the owner of the liquor store and they said, get rid of your U.S. liquor, I would literally go into the back alley and put up a sign. I'm like, listen, 50% off of this shit, and it's all cash.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take. And if you want to drink one before you leave, give me the bottle because I'm gonna smash it on the street so I can look like I'm, you know, part of the
Fighting
system.
against, yeah,
You're just like,
pro Canada.
oh,
I actually had a really interesting conversation with the president of Doll Valve on Friday
oh yeah, yeah,
because my supplier and I use primarily PureFlow PEX on all of my installs. And because I use that, I'm pretty much the only angle stops I can use are Doll Valve because they're the only
all
one
about
that's
yeah.
approved for PureFlow. Well, my supplier told me there was going to be an 18% increase in the price of the valves. I walked into the warehouse. I'm like, all right, you've got 50 cases of these on the shelf. So you're telling me right
Yeah.
now you're going to put that percentage increase on the stuff that's on the shelf? They said, well, yes,
Yep.
tariffs. Yeah, but those things aren't affected
It's
by tariffs.
already
They're
here.
already here. But anyway, when they told me the
Is that what
percentage
they're
increase,
doing?
what's that?
Is that what they're going to do?
Oh, yeah. So I ended up contacting somebody at Dahl. I'm like, hey, I was under the impression that the valves that are available to me are actually shipped from the United States and not from Canada. I'm like, you're correct, 100%. They're not even manufactured here. They're manufactured in the United States. But it's a Canadian company.
Yeah.
So because they're a Canadian company, yep, price is going up. Like, that doesn't make
No.
sense. They're made right here. It's just going on a truck 100 miles to me. No difference.
Yeah. No, you hit it on the head, man. It's simply an easy out to increase prices.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, sorry, and I'll be perfectly transparent and say we may use the same and say, listen, all of our invoices are going up by 10%. Cover the tariffs. We
Yeah.
won't, we're not going to individualize it to this product or this product because I can't be bothered to figure all that stuff out. So it's just here's the 10% increase because of the tariffs. We're off the races.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I did a 12% increase across the board because I have to recoup my losses from everything I'm buying.
Yeah.
Even though the
It's
things I'm
bananas.
buying are not actually affected.
Yeah, like they're not. I don't know. It's gonna be a wild couple of years. And yeah, Matt's saying that his Apollo valves went up by 68%.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
how do you go up 68% with Apollo valves?
That's
That's
crazy.
bananas. That's crazy.
Ontario said all Doll valves. They may be made in Canada, but somehow they're immune to the tariffs because somehow either they're shipped here and then assembled. I'm not sure how it works. But I was assured by the president of sales for Dahl that they are not affected by tariffs.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? You can see some of those products that are assembled in Canada. I'm like, what does that mean? So you made all the parts and then you screwed it together here and now it's a product of Canada? Okay. That's seems legit. Oh, and we
68%.
wonder
That
why.
is just ridiculous.
What's that?
68%. That's your entire job. That's your labor on the job for the most part.
Yeah, that's a crazy number. 68%. I have not seen that one. I have not got I got one on hydrotherm tubs. Uh, again, Pete was here. Pete has left. What was I saying? I forget. I don't know what I was fucking saying. Oh, Bradford White hydrotherm tubs, and literally, so I can't remember the other one, but she literally sent an email saying this product's going up because of the tariffs. And 15 minutes later, she sent me another email saying we're rescinding that one because they're not going forward with the tariff. I'm like, oh my gosh! I literally texted her, my sales chick, and texted her. I'm like, what is going on? She was like, listen, I don't even know. It changes by the minute of what's going on.
It honestly does change by the minute. I mean, I'm sure you guys see the same news we do. It's constantly changing, and it's almost just a spiteful thing. It's not. It has no relevance on it. Honestly, this is going to sound stupid,
I agree.
but I think it's 100% because TikTok won't sell to the U.S. government. They're so mad about that.
Well, and I think the Canadian one is because our prime minister pissed off Donald. Like whatever he said, Donald's like, fuck that guy. You know, it's an Instagram fight, but it's affecting millions of people's lives.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
I mean, I could understand. I mean, I 100% agree with trying to shift manufacturing back to our own countries and out of Asia, giving Canadians and Americans jobs. I 100% agree with that. But that's not a thing you can do in a 2-month span with tariffs. It's not going to happen.
No. Well,
it won't decades sometimes to build these factories.
And that's the thing with what, because Alberta has been selling this is strictly an Alberta problem, but we've been selling our oil to the States for 30 years, for 50 years to your refineries. So your refineries are literally built to handle Alberta crude, which is not the sweet stuff that you guys get out of Texas. It's the bitumen stuff. And so, which is a lower quality, but anyway, whatever. So they're all set up to do that. And now they're saying, no, we're going to change we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to start taking the stuff, refine the stuff from the coast, which is fine. But first of all, you don't have the supply down there to supply them yet. And the factory has to be reconfigured to handle that type of product, which is an 8 to 12 year buildup.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you guys doing? Like, fine. Just say, listen, we're going to phase this out over the next decade. So we're going to start building our factory to handle our own internal stuff because we don't want yours anymore, which is a perfectly reasonable conversation to have. But to say it starts on April 1st, you're like, what is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
It just won't. Like, it can't happen. It's craziness. Here, we got a couple comments here.
Climbing with Pup. Viga fittings have always been competitive. It's probably your supplier's markup. In general, 8% lower than any other fitting. Just saying.
I agree. The NIPCO ones, for the pricing we get, they're right on par. Like I say, the point of this whole thing for the guys coming in late is most of the manufacturers and wholesalers are just using this as an opportunity to jack up their prices so that they can make an extra, 8 to 12% immediately with the inventory that they have in the warehouse, because they're not paying for that stuff yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
It's like
stuff is
paying
all
on
paid
Peter.
for. They're just getting extra money, which, can I blame them? No, because I'd probably do the same thing.
Well, like you say, money runs the world, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's just the reality of it. And it's certainly a massive factor in the decisions that are made every day to determine what's, the decisions that you make. So who knows? It is. Are you guys busy down there? Every time I talk to you, you're busy as hell.
Yeah, I'm busy. I mean, I don't do a lot of like just general service work. I'm mostly build outs, new construction, remodels, that kind of thing. And that's in my area. That's big news. People are here buying property left and right. Everybody who's upset with the government moves to Florida. And
It's
most
true,
of those
right?
people have a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to put up stakes in Florida. We're getting out of wherever the hell
Yeah.
that the
Meanwhile,
government
I'm
seems
trying
to
to do
be
the opposite.
oppressive.
I want to get out, but there's so much work coming in.
What is LITG?
Oh,
Mother bitches.
liners in the ground.
Oh.
Of course.
That one of your
Big
buddies?
business, and there's a lot of places that do not allow lining, like some major metropolitan areas, Boston and
I
New York City. It's not allowed.
I think Philly's one of them. I know a couple plumbers up there
Yeah,
that are
Philly
like,
might be.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
reality of it is, I think they're more concerned with messing up the municipal side. Like if you were to overshoot a liner into a manhole and block off something, I think they're just waiting for maybe the proper training. I'm not really sure what they're waiting for. But overall, with especially with all of our fixtures being lower volume and getting lower and lower, like every 5 years, lining
yeah.
is a that's a benefit. If you have an old house with 4-inch cast iron, but now you have a 1.28 toilet, obviously a smaller diameter pipe, and it's not much, it's minuscule, but smaller diameter pipe is going to be better on that toilet.
Well, and like you say, you can smooth that thing out so it flows a bit better, right?
Yeah. And that's the object. That's what we're
Yeah.
doing. We're trying to do. Most of the time when we're doing lining, it's because the house has maybe terrazzo floors or imported Italian marble tiles, and they don't want to tear it up.
Yeah.
That's primarily when we're using that. It's not they fix all for everything. Obviously, replacement is always the best option. If you can do it, replace it. That's 100% best option. I will never say that lining is better than replacing the pipe.
No, but like you say, what's the cost and the inconvenience of digging it up?
Yeah, exactly.
And you guys aren't. How deep are your sewer lines? Like,
well, for me, it's
8 inches.
we're ridiculous. I mean, 3 feet is deep here.
Yeah.
But generally, if you see
We
me
deal
after
with like
you've seen 100
14.
times and I dig up a clean out, it's like 18 inches at the most.
Yeah. And ours is.
We also, if we go
Ours are.
deeper than 18 inches, we're into the limestone bed, and if we break that, the entire state floats off.
That's what's keeping it attached to the continent, the limestone. I believe that. And up here, we're like a minimum of 8 to 14 feet deep.
Yeah,
Somewhere
when
in
I
there.
see guys,
Crazy.
like I complain about lining in the heat of Florida, but when I see guys who have to dig an 8-foot hole to start a liner or
Yeah.
even do anything, honestly, I'm like, oh God, all right, I'm fine. I'll trade the
Yeah. No.
197 degrees and 10,000% humidity on an 18-inch hole.
Dude, I don't know. I've spent some time, not much in tropical climates, and that the way I say it is my blood's too thick for that stuff, man. I wilt in the heat. It's just
It,
I realize you get acclimatized to it, but in my little 2 week stint.
I've been here like 25 years, and I'm still every summer. I dread it. You know it's coming.
Kind of like I did the winter. I'm like, oh, here we go. Another
See, in the winter
6 months
though,
of hell.
you can
What's
put a
that?
hoodie on, you can put an extra jacket on, you can put
That's
gloves
true.
on. But in the
I
heat, you
have
can't
said
just
that.
take your pants off and go do a job.
You cannot go naked or you'll get in trouble. That's 100%.
It depends on your
100%.
clientele. We got some places that you can probably make a little bit of money. Not me, obviously, but other people could probably make some money.
You gonna go do some work at the nudist colony, man?
I have that. We have one in St. Pete that I do work for.
Oh, really?
Yes, and you don't want to see anything that's at that place.
No, no, I can't imagine the fabulous, scenery that you get to tie into there.
Yeah, it's not as glamorous as it sounds when you're watching a video.
Yeah, right. Like Hollywood in real life are not the same thing.
Yeah. Yes, Forrest, that is 100% correct. Shovels in the mountains, no good. But shovels and sugar sand in Florida, piece of cake. You just take shovels to get one shovel full of dirt actually out.
Because you lose half of it on the way out.
I mean, it just caves in constantly. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
You end up with about an 8-foot wide trench to cut out or clean out. It's crazy. But it's sugar sand, so you can backfill with your hand. You don't even need a shovel. You
just kick it in.
Just kick it in.
The blessings of different climates, eh? Well, get a job. Who's Adam? Oh, what else? What else? I'm still hung up on this renting your license for money, but
it's insane. It really should not be legal. And I don't know, it's probably not legal in most states. I feel like it's only these right to work states where it's legal to do that. And there aren't many. I think it's like 7 in the entire country, but.
And so do you guys have, I mean, I guess we can chat about that. I talked to Colin there the other day, and we're going to do our little live on the private equity thing, but what's your thoughts on that? Do you guys deal with that much?
Private equity, only because usually the stakeholders don't know anything about anything. They're just investors, and so they're not going to help your business. They're in it for the quick turnaround. Yeah. And generally, if you sell out to a private equity company, they're probably just trying to build your revenue for about a year and then sell off their equity to somebody else. So,
yeah.
It's like a poker
play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hand of poker, really. That's really what it is. It's an interesting. I mean, I do think there's some benefits. It's kind of like I can't remember. I was going to use the analogy with Colin. I'll have to rethink of it, but there's some benefits to what they do that if you can implement in your own business will actually help you be tremendously successful. If you're not some cutthroat that doesn't give a rat's ass about anything, right? If you can take some of that business sense that they have and apply it to your business, I think it can be beneficial to what you're doing.
To any experience you have, unfortunately, in my experience with private equities is you learn the bad side of it. You know what to not look for.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway, it's so fascinating how, two things. You're in Florida, I'm in Alberta, we're having a lovely conversation. 2, just how vastly different our worlds are in dealing with plumbing because of, I don't know what else to call it other than government oversight, right? Making sure.
That's pretty much what it is. If we had a uniform program like you guys do, I think we would be way better off because as it stands right now.
Do you think that is, like, obviously there's money to be made there. Like, why do you think that's I just don't understand why it doesn't become. And again, here's me talking about hating the government, but I don't understand why it doesn't become like a federal program. Say this is what you guys need to do in order to do your plumbing, and by all means use the amendments that you want to, acclimatize the code to your trade, to your to your climate. But these are the minimum standards that you need to meet, which is exactly what the Red Seal is, right? Yeah. Here's the minimum standard. You have to meet these requirements, and then depending on where you go to work, you'll figure out whatever they said the amendments that you need to do, right?
Yeah. And even that, like just a minimum standard would be beneficial for us because we'd have literally no standards. It's different, whatever, depending on the state you go to. As I took a 4-year accredited PHC apprenticeship, and I got certificates on every year. But in Florida, that doesn't really matter. It
still blows me away that it's run by a private company. What did that? How much did that cost you?
Like, it cost me nothing. My employers paid for it. However, it's the same thing as a university here because most universities are private. So you're paying somebody to give you a piece of paper that has no accreditation themselves.
Yeah. And so, what did your employers pay?
I'm gonna guess probably at that time, and we're talking back in the '90s, so maybe $1,000 a year, $1,500 maybe.
Yeah, that's
relatively cheap. So all in all, for 4 years, definitely less than 10,000. Whereas you go for 4 years at a university, you're spending $100,000 minimum.
Yeah. When I took my stuff in Alberta, my first 3 years were free because it's the trade crisis that they're sort of pimping now. It's been around for 50 years, no mistake about it. And so the government here is like, listen, come to school. We won't pay you, but school is free. And then my last year, 4th year that I took, it was $500 or no, $200, whatever it was. It was some nominal amount that was like, oh, wow. Now that we're sort of catching up, we're going to make people pay to go to school. And now the boys that I just put through, it was the most expensive, obviously, and it was about $1,000 a year.
Yeah, and that's nothing. Honestly, for what you learn and what you can do, it's nothing.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest problems with us getting new blood in my area is that most employers don't want to shell out that money because a lot of the times it's dead money. Because if a guy lasts 2 weeks and quits, you're on the hook for that $1,000 or whatever for the year. So we just don't get a lot of new blood, and it's the same 25 guys quitting their jobs and having a bender or whatever and getting fired, and they go to the next company. Yeah. We all know the same people. Like, well, Jesse's going to be back here in about 2 months, and sure shit, Jesse's back in 2 months.
Dude, I'm ready to go. I mean it this time.
Yeah.
We had up here, when we had all those guys, once you came to school, you had to stay with me for 6 months, and then I would pay you your school back. Is how we ran it.
Pretty good policy.
Yeah, I'm happy to pay for it.
When I went to school, I think that was the agreement that if I had quit, I would have to repay them the tuition for my first year, but I didn't have to worry about it. I just went to school, man. I just did what I had to do.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a long day up here in the Canadian North. Any parting shots there, James?
No shots taken. Keep it clean.
Well, let me say this for all that are here. James, I very much enjoy my association with James. As he said at the beginning of this, we have sort of been in various conversations for 5 or 6 years now. He's certainly helped me out of a couple of jams in Florida. My reach of customers goes throughout I've had guys go to work for me in Oklahoma, in California, in Halifax, and even as far out as in Nantucket. And so it's did the boys finish their apprenticeship? Yes. Sorry, that's PS diploma. Yeah, the boys are both certified journeymen. Pete's on year 2, and I think he's in his second year of being a journeyman, and Isaiah is in his third. Anyway, James is a fabulous dude. I encourage you guys to follow him. He does some sick shit down there in Florida, and I always appreciate his conversation. How's that? Is that nice enough?
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I appreciate the time. Have a good one. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, talk to you soon. All right, gents, that is it. Thanks for joining for I think we went for almost 80 minutes. Our next, hopefully we're going to get Colin in here in the next couple of week or so. We'll see how that goes. I see we had the Dumb and Dangerous was in, chiming in, and a few late stragglers here. We're just wrapping up. It's been a wonderful day. I hope you guys have an excellent day. Everything that's been said here has been my thoughts and not yours. Some of it was James. This is the first time I've done one that I couldn't see James. Could you guys see James? Or is that just me? Was he simply voice only? That was weird for me. Looking at myself the whole time. Seems a bit, whatever the word is, a bit vain. All right. Last comments. It's 6:39. So I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds to ask me a question. He had a perfect connection? Really? How come I couldn't see him? I don't know. Was my connection bad? Anyway, this IG thing. Sometimes it works like a charm. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. The emails are coming in. All right, gents. It's been a pleasure. I like most of you. You guys know the guys I don't like. It was spotty at times. All right, well. I was pixelated, eh? Voice was good. Picture was horrible. And so that's, I don't even know. I'm fully connected to the old Starlink. Anyway. All right. It's been a pleasure. I'm out. I'll work on that. It's always something to work on, no matter what you're doing in life. That's the motto. Peace. It's been fun. Thanks, James.